And some women actually make more money after a divorce because they're not sacrificing their time, their energy, or their career growth for a partner.
2 years ago, I was divorced, and it was seriously one of the most heartbreaking, one of the most tumultuous, one of the most disappointing.
Katie, get back out there, find your person. I'm good. These are the 3 reasons that I choose to remain single after a 22-year marriage ended.
I know plenty of people who are divorced. I know plenty of people who failed at marriage multiple times because they've been married multiple times.
Half wash the dishes and pee all over the toilet seats, and when they get out the shower, it's water all over the floor and they don't put their clothes.
Yes, I'm single. Yes, I'm serious. Say hi. I don't bite.
Hello guys, welcome to my new video. For decades, the narrative around divorce was draped in shame. We've all heard the whispers, the broken home, the failed marriage, the lonely divorcee. But something massive is shifting under the surface of modern society. If you look at the data today, a staggering 70% of divorces in the US are initiated by women. Among college-educated women, number jumps even higher, closer to 90%. Why is this happening? Is it because marriage is dying? Or is it because women have finally reached a breaking point where the cost of staying is officially higher than the cost of leaving? Today, we aren't just talking about the end of relationships. We're talking about the end of an era where women felt they had to stay to survive. We're diving deep into the walk-away wife phenomenon, the decline of the marriage premium for women, and why being alone is no longer the worst-case scenario. If you've ever felt like you're carrying the entire weight of a household on your shoulders while your partner stays clueless, or if you've wondered why so many women in your circle seem happier after the papers are signed, this video is for you. Let's get into the real reasons why women aren't afraid to file anymore. 1. Financial autonomy, the exit ramp. The shift. In the past, marriage was an economic necessity. Without a credit card or a career, leaving wasn't an option. Today, women make up nearly half the workforce. When you can pay your own rent, the threshold for tolerable unhappiness drops significantly. 2. The mental load and walk-away wife syndrome. The problem: many women feel like they have a third child instead of a partner. The breaking point: it's rarely one big fight. It's years of asking for help with chores, emotional labor, and parenting, only to be met with, "Just tell me what to do." Eventually, she stops asking. When she stops asking, she's already gone mentally. 3. The happiness gap. The data. Studies often show that married men are healthier and happier than single men, but the same isn't always true for women. Single, childless women are often reported as one of the happiest subgroups in society.
Financial move. Most people think that divorce is a setback, but for some women, I think it's the smartest financial move that they'll ever make. And I'm not just talking about getting like this big fat alimony paycheck or this big fat settlement. I think there's so much more to that. As a divorce lawyer, I've seen so many women walk away from marriages not only emotionally free, but they are financially thriving. And that's because they start making better financial decisions once they're out of these toxic and controlling relationships. They're taking charge, they're investing, they're building their careers, they're growing their own wealth. And some women actually make more money after a divorce because they're not sacrificing their time, their energy, or their career growth for a partner. Divorce really forces you to level up, and you're getting smarter about money. You're having this financial freedom to make these decisions without compromise. Many women actually come out of divorce richer in every sense.
Living with a man seems like a real life horror film. Like, I would work 3 or 4 jobs to not live with a man. Like, why would you willingly live with a man if you don't have to? God, no. Even if you are married to him or in a relationship with him, there's just no need to live with him. I know it's expensive and I know it costs a lot to live, but I would do everything in my power to not have to live in the same house with a man, because the amount of videos and comments that I see about women being sick of living with these disgusting men is just, they go in the kitchen and they leave all the cabinets open and it's crumbs all over the countertop. And if they do cook, it's grease and seasonings all over the counter and the floor. And they half wash the dishes and pee all over the toilet seats. And when they get out the shower, it's water all over the floor. And they don't put their clothes in the dirty clothes hamper. They put it beside the dirty clothes hamper. Like, oh my God, no, 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 no.
This one is for all the divorced women out there. Did you know that multiple studies have shown that in aggregate, you guys are the happiest demographic out there? Hi, I'm Amanda Paris, host of For the Culture with Amanda Paris. In our episode, Beyond Happily Ever After, I interview a professor named Dr. Jessica Mormon who told me,
divorced women are the happiest women. In aggregate, divorced women are the happiest. Okay.
As a married woman, I was like, huh, interesting. But also, kudos to these divorced women who clearly saw what was on the other side and are enjoying it.
I feel like I'm having a second life. I'm just excited. So, in terms of being a single woman, I'm reframing it. If I'm lucky, I'll get another 30 and 40 years and I'm going to live it disgracefully.
Why is that in midlife we start to feel less connected to our partners? Ladies, a study found that about 70% of women who got divorced blamed menopause as their major factor. And let me tell you, I am in my mid-40s, and sometimes I look at my husband and I think, dear Lord, I can't. And then the very next day, I'm like, I love him so much. What I would do with him, blah, 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 right? Sound familiar? This happens to many of us, but here's what I have learned. The more attention you give to your health in your mid-30s and beyond, your physical, mental, spiritual health, the more connected you will feel, not just with yourself, but with your partner too. So don't wait. Don't let menopause be the reason your relationship falls apart like it did for 70% of those women. Take action. Start now. You're so worth it and you're welcome.
Why aren't you dating? Get back out there. Find your person. I'm good. These are the 3 reasons that I choose to remain single after a 22-year marriage ended. The first one is that I do not want physical intimacy. In my mind, it's awesome. In reality, it's a huge disappointment. When you're young and the men have still got it, they just brag about how great they are, but they can't actually deliver, and you're under constant attack. In my own home, I was being hunted. Constant groping, constant fondling, and if you say something, it just hurts their fragile ego. They take it as rejection. It becomes this whole thing. And then when you're in your 40s and beyond, you're dealing with ED, STDs, popcorn addiction, and other weird stuff. I really should have been a nun. I mean, look how great I look in that habit. The second reason is that I'm my best version of myself when I'm single. When I'm in a relationship, I hate myself. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I lack motivation. I just don't like me. Versus when I'm single, I feel like I'm on top of the world. I'm thriving. I'm laser focused. I'm accomplishing things that I just can't do when I'm in a relationship. I love me. And the third reason is that I want to be of service to as many people as possible versus being a slave to one person. You've had a death in the family, I can be there for you. You've just had a baby, I can bring you a casserole. You need a volunteer? Pick me. I can say yes to helping so many different people and organizations, and I can't do that when I'm in a relationship. This life is not for everyone, but my gosh,
It's been 6 months since my divorce, and sometimes it's the smallest little things that happen that tell you, like, I think I'm going to be okay. Today, my daughters had a competition, cheer competition, and I was in the audience waiting for them to go on. I glanced over and I saw somebody that I knew. I immediately went up to her, called her name, and we sat and had a chat. Now, you might think, what's the big deal about sitting and, seeing someone and talking to them? But for me, that's a big deal because for the last year or so of my marriage, I had gotten used to avoiding people. The reason, though, that I was doing it is because I was just tired of having to put on a smile, a fake smile, talk about my family life and do it in a way that wasn't honest. But I had to reassure everybody that everything was fine. I was fine. Kids were fine. Husband was fine. Everything was fine. But knowing it wasn't fine. And when you have to put on that plastic face that smile to everybody that everything is okay, it is exhausting. And I just didn't have the energy for it, especially like the last year of my marriage. I was just tired of it. So I would just avoid people. So I just wouldn't have to try to put on a face. But today I got to have a conversation where I was talking openly and honestly about my life, about my divorce, about how my kids are doing, about my future. It just felt like such a relief just to finally be able to be honest about my life, not have to put on this facade, not have to be fake, not have to try to fit into a mold of happy wife, happy mother, everything is fine. Everything isn't fine. There's aspects of my life that I'm struggling with, and I even talked to my friend about that. She was so encouraging. She was so patient. And she just said, you're going to be able to do this. You're going to be fine. I'm really proud of you that you did this. And it made me realize people probably saw it. People probably saw what I was going through, no matter how many fake smiles I put on, no matter how many times I tried to reassure that everything was fine. People could probably tell, especially other women, that it's not fine. So yeah, being able to talk about my life openly and honestly with somebody that I know is definitely an indicator that I am on the way to healing. I got divorced in July of last year, so you would think getting a divorce would be my big accomplishment of 2025. But the truth is, getting the divorce wasn't the issue. Filing the paperwork, moving out, doing all of those tasks of divorce wasn't the issue for me. It was believing that I could. Being in this 18-year marriage, which in a lot of ways was safe. It was safe because I had somebody, I wasn't alone. I thought it was the best thing for my kids. Financially, I was more stable. There were 1,000,001 reasons I gave myself for staying. And I listened to those reasons and stayed for 18 years. But when I started looking for reasons to change my life, when I started looking for reasons to make my life better, then all of those excuses that I was using and listening to for all those years rang hollow. When I started thinking about this idea that I could live on my own, I could be a single parent, I could support myself, I could make my own decisions for my own life. Once that thought came into my head and planted itself there, then I knew I could actually do this. Even at 53 years old, I can change my life and I can turn this life that I have into something that I truly want and something that's truly going to make me feel happy, something that's going to truly make me like myself. Once the idea was in my head and once I believed it, I could do anything. So my big accomplishment for 2025 isn't getting a divorce. My big accomplishment for 2025 is believing in myself, believing in my ability to take care of myself, believing in my ability to make the best decisions for myself, and believing in the idea that I deserved the best life possible.
Welcome back. I talk a lot on my platforms about why I'm child-free and why I'm also anti-marriage. But I'm anti-marriage for myself. I'm not anti-marriage for my friends and family. I just don't see myself ever getting married. Another reason why I don't want to get married is because I am not about to go through the BS that you go through in a divorce, right? Losing assets, having to divide assets. It is my own personal opinion that most marriages are going to end in divorce anyways. Most of them already have, if you really look around. I know plenty of people who are divorced. I know plenty of people who failed at marriage multiple times because they've been married multiple times. So at the end of the day, that's just not a risk I'm willing to take, right? And for the same reasons why I don't want to have kids, right? The number one way I can guarantee that I'll never be a single mother or a baby mama or whatever is to not have kids, right? You have to protect yourself from things. You can't control the law, right? I've seen a lot of people lose things, men and women, lose things in marriages and divorces that was very unfair. especially if you've acquired things before you got married, and then the financial situation changed between you or your husband or whatever, and then now all of a sudden you're taking this and you're taking that, even though it was mine. People will say sign prenups. I see prenups get thrown out all the time, overturned. Depends on the judge. It depends on the state you're in. It depends on the judge's mood that day. It depends on who has the better lawyer. We know it's not what's true is what you can prove in court. And we know that spouses can have the better lawyers that knows the loopholes, and next thing you know, you're walking away with nothing, even though you worked hard for stuff. Same reason why starting a company and then bringing in investors, and then they end up getting a higher percentage of the company, and they vote you out of your own company. Oh my God. Every time I've ever heard anybody go through that, I got pissed for them. Which is why I would never, I would either sell my company outright or whatever, but I just don't see myself putting other people in a position to overthrow me from my own shit, right? I just have the mindset, right? I already think most marriages are going to end in divorce anyway. This is just one of the reasons why I don't want to get divorced. I got to keep saying that because everybody thinks that whatever I talk about in one video, that's the only reason. No, there's 1,000 reasons why I don't want to get married, and there's 3,000 reasons why I don't want to have kids, right? This is just one of the reasons. One of the top reasons, actually, right? I don't want somebody in my house. I don't want somebody to be able to take my shit, right? When we break up, right? I don't date anymore anyways, but when we break up, we can just go our separate ways. Right? There's no dividing of assets. There's nothing what I came in, I would just much rather you not have any legal rights to my shit. Right? I don't want any legal rights to yours either. I can hold that same energy. We both leave with what we came with. Right? That's just to give women something to think about too. Those of you who are contemplating getting a house with a man, I would never fucking get a house with a man and like own one. Have I rented houses with someone before? A couple people, both of my fiancés, yes, I have. But we rented, so it wasn't that big of a deal, right? But buying a house, absolutely not. And I plan on putting my blood, sweat, and tears into this bitch. Like, I'm literally going to have this house custom. It's gonna be the exact square footage, the exact amount of acres, all of that. The perfect amount of rooms. I need at least 5 bedrooms. Yes, that sounds excessive to some people, but that's too bad. I still want 5 bedrooms. I have my bedroom, I have my dressing room, I'm gonna have an office, I'm gonna have a workout / dance studio, and I'm gonna have a guest bedroom, period. That's what I'm gonna do. So I'm not gonna go through all of that and then risk losing it. It's just not gonna happen. So there's that. I just wanted to share that little tidbit and give you guys something to think about. Is it worth losing everything that you worked hard for? Is it worth risking losing your credit or ruining your credit? Things like that, right? It's not worth it. You're going to get divorced 9 times out of 10 anyways. It's like, why put yourselves through that? That's just my own personal opinion. I know people are going to disagree, but that is how I feel. And I just wanted to share that because that was on my mind today. I'll catch you guys in the next video.
I thought divorce was going to be the worst thing that ever happened to me, and I fear it might be the best thing that ever happened to me. I mean, all the divorce girlies know. Like, the first few months, let's say 3 to 6, are horrifying, yes. And then like you get to that 6 month to a year mark, and you're like, my hair's grown out, my skin is cleared up, my aura is bright, I have new friends, I'm making more money than I ever made, I'm thriving, I'm happy, my kids are happy. If you have kids, you know what it's like to feel joy again. Yeah, I don't know, I really thought my life was over, but it turns out that the over part was temporary, and life gets really good after divorce if you let it. Trust me.
I don't share a lot about my personal life. Okay, here. I don't do it. Not here on TikTok. But I hope that by sharing this, someone is going to be encouraged, blessed, helped. But I just walked out of the driver's license office, and I have officially been given back my name. And why this is important is because 2 years ago, I was divorced. 2 years ago, I was divorced. And it was seriously one of the most heartbreaking, one of the most tumultuous, one of the most disappointing experiences of my life. But I knew it needed to happen. I remember being in survival mode initially for like the first year after that. And I never got around to changing my name. I never got around to like legally changing it. I changed it on what I could change it on that doesn't require legal documentation here in my state. But as far as actually like legally changing my name on my driver's license, you know, I had not done it. And just with scheduling and busyness and life and, you know, I looked up and it was 2 years out from my divorce and I still had this man's name legally. You have to understand the power of a name and what's in a name, because names have meaning. Names carry on bloodlines and lineages. And when you disconnect from someone, you need to disconnect from them totally, 100%. You need to disconnect from that person, particularly if they were a person that was detrimental to you, harmful to you, toxic, whatever the case may be. And even if they weren't, if you're just in a season of moving on, you need to cut the cord. You need to disconnect. You just don't understand. Like looking at this piece of paper and seeing my first name and my given last name, my maiden name. Now that I have this back, let me tell you something. I will never change my name again. There is not a man on this planet that I would change my name for, because I know the weight that my name carries. I know the power in my name. And when you know the power in your name, even if you get married, I don't recommend changing your name. And I also will say this. I don't recommend changing your name for logistical reasons, in terms of, you know, if something ever happens and you have to undo all of what you did, it just takes a lot, which is another reason why I had not changed my name. I just had too much different other types of paperwork that needed to be done in order for me to legally do it. But it is done. And so today I am celebrating, and I just wanted to celebrate that with you all and share with you. I got my name back. Your girl got her name back, and she is never changing it again. And it is the most empowering and most uplifting and most beautiful feeling. And I am so grateful to God for bringing me to this place and for being with me through this entire process and for healing me through all of it. And I talk about it all the time of, you know, the reason why I love the work that I do with women is because, and why I can walk beside women through their challenges and relationship dramas and divorces, is because I've been in their shoes. I've been through it with babies, rebuilding yourself from the ground up, starting all over again, starting a new career, perhaps even because maybe you were a stay-at-home mom and you weren't working. You were working in your home. And now you're divorced and you need to figure out what life is going to look like for you. This is why I'm so passionate about this work, because I know what your life can look like after you get done crying your tears, all of that. You have no idea. You have no idea after you get through the pain of the separation and the pain of the divorce, the beauty that awaits on the other side of it, the version of you on the other side of that is so much stronger and so much better than you could ever imagine. Thanks, y'all, for taking time to watch my little video and celebrate with me. I'm so happy. I'm just so happy. I'm so happy. It's the perfect way to start the new year with my name. I'm so happy. Part 2. I asked for a divorce after being married for only 75 days. So, to pick up where I left off, we were great. Everything was going great. We were dating. We were having a good time. We were getting to know one another. And one day I was at his house. We just chit-chatting it up. And he was like, I really see myself marrying you. And I was like, oh, you do? And he was like, yeah, I'm for real. Like, I really do see you as being my wife. So I didn't take it as serious as he was saying it. So I was kind of like, yeah, okay, laughing or whatever. So he was like, nah, I'm serious. Like, I want you to be my wife. We should go get married. And I was like, okay, still not really taking it serious and not thinking that it's something that he wanted to do at that time. I thought like he meant like down the line or whatever. But he was like, nah, we should go get married. I'm going to go get you a ring. We should get married. So I called my sister. I told my sister, like, this man's serious about getting married. And so we laugh. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And so we're laughing because she had already met him. So she had already been around him or whatever. So I was like, I'm going to do it. And the way that my sister and I are, we got each other backs no matter what. Because at the end of the day, we know, like, whatever it is, I'm gonna help you get out of it. You gonna get out of it either way it goes. And that's just the truth. It wasn't that deep, y'all. I didn't approach marriage from a religious standpoint. I didn't approach it from a love standpoint. Marriage is not about religion. Marriage has nothing to do with that. Marriage has nothing to do with love. Marriage is a business contract. It's a business deal. So the same thing as if you were going into a business partnership with someone and the terms and conditions of that contract were not met and you sever your business ties, that's the same way I looked at marriage. And that's just the truth. So he was like, yeah, we should go get married. Let's set a date. So we set the date or whatever, which was days later. And so I was at his house. So I went back to my house. And so I started to prep and prepare for the date. So I, went and got my nails done, went and found a dress, went and found something to wear. And I'm just like kind of nervous. But at the same time, I'm just like, I'm just going to do it. What do I have to lose? Because in my mind, we're not about to combine assets. We don't have children together. I live over here. He lives over here. Maybe eventually, once I see, then things will be okay enough for me to feel comfortable enough to talk about it. But as of right now, it's not that deep. And I'm just being honest. And so I went and got my nails done, got my hair done, got me a dress, did all of that. And so my sister and I are talking the whole time. I think I called my cousin too. And my cousin and I are the same. We have the same type of relationship that I have with my sister. So it's kind of like, girl, go ahead. You ain't got nothing to lose. That's just how we are. And so the day of, so I get dressed, I go back to his house because we're going to go from his house to the courthouse to get married. So we get to the courthouse and it's closed. And we're like, okay, why is the courthouse closed? Come to find out it was like George Washington's birthday or something crazy that we never even thought about. Red flag number 1. That should have told me not to keep going. So we decided to go out to eat, talk, have a good time, reset the date. So I believe we set the date a couple of days later. So I was like, all right, cool. So the day of, we go to the courthouse, we get dressed that morning, we talk about it, we go to the courthouse. So as we're entering in the courthouse, it's cold. It's December. So it's freezing outside. And so I have on these boots that come up like above my knee, underneath my dress or whatever. And so when we get to the metal detectors, they're like, you got to take those boots off. You can't come through here with boots on because we got to be able to see what's in your boots. So it kind of made me, I'm like, red flag number 2. So I had to take my boots off so that I could walk through the metal detector. I also had some lotion in my handbag, and they said that the lotion bottle was too big to bring inside, so I could either walk it back to the car
have him walk it back to the car, or I could just throw it away. And I was just like, whatever, throw it away. So we get through the metal detector. We hold hands. They tell us what floor to go up on. So we go up on the floor to the where you get the marriage license, and we have to sign in or whatever. And so she gives us the form, and so he's filling out his portion of the form. Then he hands it to me. I'm filling out my portion of the form, and I'm just in my head like, damn, I'm really doing this. Still just going with the flow, like just going with the flow. And so we fill it out. The lady verifies our ID. Then we have to go back to the another room where the lady reads through the form and confirms that I'm who I say I am. He's who says he is, and we are not currently married to anybody else. And so she gets to the part of the form where she's like, how do you want? Do you want to take his last name? Do you want to hyphenate do you want to hyphenate it? How would you like for it to be? And so I was like, hyphenate it or whatever. So he kind of looked at me, but I didn't care. So I was like, hyphenate it. So she was like, okay, well, we'll hyphenate and we'll put his last name on the end of yours. So we continue to go. We go through all that. She signs it off. She gives us this paper and tells us that we have to mail it off in order for it to be effective. So we're going to have to put it in the mail. They're going to have to stamp it. The judge has to stamp it, send it back after we get it officiated. So we're like, all right, cool. So he calls one of his favorite pastors and was like, we just got a marriage license. I would like for you to marry us. And so the pastor and his wife was like, oh my God, okay, cool. Like, we'll do it. So we go get something to eat after we leave the courthouse because we're hungry. And the pastor was like, it was going to take him a couple of hours to meet us to get it officiated. So he's calling everybody, telling everybody in his family, which we had talked about that we were not going to make an announcement until later. And for me, I wasn't going to tell nobody but my sister and my cousin because I just ain't want to put people in my business like that. So I didn't want to make no grand announcement. And for me, again, marriage was not a big deal in that sense because we were not connecting our lives right away. So I knew I needed time to see. I know it sounds crazy, but it's the truth. So we talk about that and we're like, we're not going to make a big announcement. The minute he get a chance, he calling his sisters, he calling his cousins, he calling his friends. Oh, I just got married. And everybody like, oh, you married her? She's pretty. You got a good wife, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, damn, he just telling everybody. The whole time, I'm just telling my sister and my cousin, and we texting back and forth, basically laughing about it. And so we go get something to eat, and then we meet the pastor for him to officiate. So before the pastor officiates, I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom. The pastor's wife comes into the bathroom. So she's like, you're gorgeous. It's the day that you're getting married. We've been married for 30 years. Basically, giving me advice, how they've had ups and downs, how there's going to be really hard times, but there's also going to be good times, and how you got to put your marriage first and keep people out your business and don't tell people what's going. Just a whole spiel. And she'd have been married to this man for 30-something years. So I'm like, okay, I'm listening. I'm like, all right. So we go out there. The pastor starts to officiate. And I'm just standing there the whole time. Basically in a daze almost. I was just not even there, honestly. And so it goes through the vows or whatever. We say, I do. He has officiated the damn marriage.
At the end of the day, filing for divorce isn't an act of giving up. For many of the women represented in those statistics, it is an act of reclaiming. It's the realization that peace in a quiet apartment is worth more than tension in a large house. The fear of being alone is being replaced by the fear of being lonely while sitting right next to someone. We are seeing a generation of women who refuse to settle for fine or stable but soul-crushing. If you are watching this and you're in that space, feeling the weight of a lopsided partnership, know that the stigma is fading. You aren't failing a marriage. You might be succeeding at choosing yourself for the first time in years. But I want to hear from you. We've looked at the stats, but the human stories are what matter. Does the 70% statistic surprise you? Or do you see it happening in your own life? Is it about the housework, the emotional connection, or just a desire for a different kind of life? Drop a comment below. Let's start a respectful conversation, because the more we talk about these shifts, the less power the old shame has over us. If this deep dive gave you some clarity or made you feel a little less alone in your thoughts, please hit that like button. It helps this video reach people who might really need to hear this today. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell. We're going to be talking a lot more about modern relationships, independence, and the psychology of the new normal. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Remember, your peace is not negotiable.